Hello everyone. In this lesson we look at applications of percents, and just as we did with basic percent problems, we have to identify the rate, base, and the part. And the rate is the percentage, and that is always the easiest to find, so I always suggest determine if we have it or if we don't, and then decide what's the base and what's the part. You have two choices in terms of how you want to approach the solution. You could use the proportion method, as mentioned here, or, as I'm going to suggest, the equation method. And with the equation method, we also have two choices, and I'm going to choose to use this version. And as I wrote in the last lesson, the key sentence to understand is that the percent of the base is the part. And if we understand that, then we're going to write this sentence down at all times. Blank percent of blank is blank, knowing that the percent of the base is the part. And we will fill in two of the three pieces of information that will always be given and solve for the third. So this translates, because out means multiplies and is means equals, into this situation where we write down the sentence, we fill it in, and we translate it again of multiplication is means equals. So you could read the rest of this formality and the example on your own. I'm going to go right to the pencil problem. So there's the example, and we'll go right to the pencil problem. So we read through the pencil problem, and it's talking about 11.25% of our recommended daily allowance of sodium, and that is 2,400 milligrams, and we want to know how many milligrams are in this low sodium hot dog. So again, two pieces of information are given. Let's focus on the percentage first. Do we know it? Yes, we do. It's fairly obvious. That's 11.25%. In the future, you're going to have to write down this sentence on your own. In the first few examples, we give you the hint, but get used to writing down blank percent of blank is blank. Now we have to determine if the recommended daily allowance of sodium, being the 2,400 milligrams, is the part or the base. And remember that the part is the portion of the base, which is the whole. So it should be easy to discern that the 2,400 represents the base, which in a sense is the total, but I like to use the term whole. And the part is the portion of that, which will represent how many milligrams of sodium there are in this hot dog. That's the unknown. We'll call it X. Okay, translate this to a mathematical sentence. Just note that when using the equation method, the percentage needs to be changed to a decimal. So two places to the left, 0.1125. Of means multiplication. 24 times 2,400 then, and is means equals, so equals X. And you can see it's just basic multiplication. Use your calculator. 0.1125 times 2,400 is 270. So 270 equals X. And we should label it, so let me say that X equals 270 milligrams of sodium. And you could say in this low sodium hot dog if you wanted to write a little college-like sentence. Okay, moving on. Next example, same idea. I'll go to the pencil problem. And we give the hint again. Blank percent of blank is blank. Now we're told 250 students took a statistics course, 180 passed. What percent passed the course? So the percentage is what we're looking for. We'll call that X. And the base, although in this case it should be obvious that it's 250 because that's the total number of students, and we're taking the portion of those, the 180 that passed, you don't always want to think of the base as the bigger number, but in this case it is. So the base is 250, follows the of, the is 180, or the part 180 follows the is. Translate this to a mathematical sentence. X times 250, because of means multiplication again, is means equals 180. Now instead of x times 250, we should have wrote 250x. I just wanted to be literal in the translation, but we know to put the number in front of the letter, coefficient in front of the variable. And now we can see to solve for x we need to divide. So just divide both sides by the coefficient of x. So dividing both sides by 250, we get that x equals, and we'll go to a calculator, 180 divided by 250 is 0.72. But here's something very important. Whenever we solve using the equation method for a percentage, the number that we get is a decimal number, and that must be converted to a percent. So we move 2 places to the right and add the percent symbol. So 72%. Okay, moving on. Other examples, so no new concepts, just same idea. Give the hint again in the pencil problem. And we're talking about some potatoes. 32% of all potatoes are harvested in Idaho. There's 280,000 acres in Idaho. How many are in the entire United States? So sometimes the words can, trigger you to think of what's base and what's part. Again, percentage, easy. You know it or you don't. And obviously in this case, we know it. It's 32%. And we have to determine, does this 280 represent the whole, all the potatoes harvested, or the portion of the whole? And in this case, the 280,000 represents those harvested in Idaho. So the entire U.S. would be the base, so that's the unknown, we'll call it X, and the 280,000 is the part, the portion of that whole. Okay, translate. Again, change the percent to a decimal, 0.32, 2 places to the left, of means multiplied, X is means equals, 280,000. Okay, we're going to divide. You can rate this as without the multiplication symbol. I just wanted to make sure we were clear. But now, division. So divide by the 0.32. Again, I always take this extra step to show it literally, the division. I've mentioned many times in the videos where I know most of you are just going to, from this step right here, just draw a line underneath and write the 0.32 and then finish it up. So that's fine as well. Okay, and then the division, 280,000 divided by 0.32 is 875,000. Okay, just check. We're not solving for the percent, so that's our answer. And this will be acres of potatoes. Okay, so the next thing is a new concept, increase or decrease. Nice thing about these problems is they intuitively make sense. If we're talking about an increase in the price, we're going to add to the original price. And if we talk about a decrease in the price, we're going to subtract from the original price. So that should be pretty obvious. Also, when we write out our sentence, blank percent of blank is blank, the part is always going to represent the amount of increase or decrease. So that makes it pretty simple. Because you can see in the example, and we'll deal with the pencil problem, basically just comes down to a multiplication of the percentage times the base, and either adding or subtracting to the original price. So here's a gas barbecue, that's the price of it, $199.95. It was dented, so the manager decreases the price by 20%. What is the amount of decrease and the new price? Okay, so for the amount of decrease, we're going to use blank percent of blank is blank. So again, that's our key sentence. Do we know the percentage? Yes, it's 20%. And the purchase price is always the base, and that's the $199.95. I'll drop the dollar symbol there. And the part is the amount of increase or decrease. And so we translate, change the percent to a decimal, 0.20 of means multiplied by the $199.95 is means equals, and that's X. So multiplying, we have 0.2 times 199.95 is $39.99. And that represents the amount of increase or decrease. In this case, the amount of decrease. So therefore the new price, and you can put a dollar symbol there if you like, and the new price, you don't really need a fancy formula for this. It should be intuitively obvious that if we're decreasing, we're going to subtract. So we take the $199.95 minus the $39.99, and we get the new price, which is $159. Put the dollar symbol there as well. 96. Okay, so if you read the example, that was a increase. So when we went through that, we added. All right, now the last few pencil problems involve applications that deal with sales tax and commission. And we always are going to use that phrase, blank percent of blank is blank, meaning that the percent of the base is the part. And the nice thing about these application problems is the base always will represent the purchase price. So we'll be talking about buying items in a store, maybe buying a house or car or diamond ring, whatever, dealing with commission. And so we have the rate, that's either the sales tax rate or the commission rate. The base, as I said, is always the purchase price, and the part represents in sales tax problems the sales tax paid, and in commission problems the amount of commission earned. So you can read the example on your own as well as the rest of that, and we'll jump right to the pencil problem. And I immediately recognize it as a percent problem because there's percentages and such, so I know my standard routine is blank percent of blank is blank. Do I know the percentage? Yep, reading this, 7%, so fill that in. So is the sales tax, the sales tax paid is $4.76. We have to determine, does that represent the base or the part? And remember, the base is the purchase price. We want to find the purchase price, so that's X. And the part is the amount of sales tax paid, so that's our $4.76. So, translating to an equation, percent to the decimal, 0.07 times is of, X equals, represents is, the $4.76. So the 0.07x gets divided by 0.07, and so does the 4.76. And we use our calculator, and we have 68. Okay, so that represents the purchase price. So maybe even say the purchase price is $68. You could put decimal here, 00, if you like. Alright, so the last two problems are very similar. Just always remember, purchase price is the base. Okay, so we have an example you could read through, and then our pencil problem that we'll go over. Recognizing it as a percent problem, sales tax rate, what's desired, blank percent of blank is blank. We want the sales tax rate. Remember, the rate is the percentage, so that's the unknown, call it X. Base is the purchase price, so literally comes out and tells us $17.89 is the purchase price, and the amount of sales tax that is paid is the $107.34. Okay, so translating this to a mathematical sentence, X of means multiplied by 789 is means equals the 107.34. Okay, here once again, you could have written immediately 1789x equals 107.34. I just wanted to be literal in terms of the translation from the sentence to the mathematical expression. And at that point, to solve for x, we divide by its coefficient. So dividing both sides by 1789. Okay, now these numbers look like they're not going to work out pretty, and they don't have to, but sometimes we design the problems so that they do. So even though they're odd-looking numbers, 107.34 divided by 1789.06 comes out nice. So you know you did something right. Okay, but then always check and make sure that if you solve for the percentage, as we did here, that you have to change the decimal answer to a percent. So 2 places to the left, or excuse me, right, 6, add the percent symbol. So 6% is the sales tax rate. Okay, so final pencil problem for this lesson. Again, you could read the example on your own. And to the pencil problem, we want the commission earned on a 1.70 carat diamond ring with a purchase price of $15,280 and a commission rate of 2.8%. So identifying this as a percent problem, our standard statement, blank percent of blank is blank. Do we know the percentage? And let's see, yep, we do. It's 2.8, fill that in. And then this 1.70 caret, that number is extraneous. It doesn't have anything to do with the solution to the problem because it has nothing to do with the price. It's just the size of the diamond that we're buying. So we could basically ignore that, and we're literally told the purchase price is the 15,280, so that's the base. Because remember, the base is always the purchase price. And so therefore the commission earned will be the unknown. We'll call it X. And so translate this once again, change the percentage to a decimal, 2 places to the left, 0.028 of means multiplied by 15,280 is means equals, and that's X. And so use a calculator, obviously. 0.028 times 15,280 is $427.84. So that is the amount of commission earned. Okay, so that's the end of this lesson, and if you have any questions or concerns, do not hesitate to contact me.